Hello everyone, this is Paula Sweet, your host on the Absolute Mind podcast. Today we're delving into a topic that's quite reflective both metaphorically and literally, the mirror of self-compassion. Tell me something, when you stand in front of a mirror, how do you speak to the person staring back at you? Are your words kind, understanding and compassionate? Or are they harsh, critical and unforgiving? So many of us don't give a second thought, but the way we speak to ourselves in our internal dialogue and language is truly transformative, and it's completely within our control. You might not be able to stop the initial comments or the outbursts because perhaps they're hardwired initially from years of not really paying positive attention and trying to correct. But from that point on, you can begin to steer the conversation or dialogue in your head to something far more positive, or at least less harsh to start with. Now, our conversation today explores the profound impact of self-compassion on our mental health. But before we dive in, let's set the mood with a beautiful quote by Buddha. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Now on to today's inspiring story. I've taken so much inspiration from Dr. Peter Attia, known for his deep dives into longevity and mental health. He had a powerful journey through self-compassion. So before I go any further, thank you, Peter, for sharing your story with honesty and vulnerability. Now this is my take from podcasts and videos from Peter. He found himself entangled in the thorns of anger, a struggle that many of us can relate to. But despite his efforts through various therapies and retreats, the shackles of anger remained unbroken. However, a transformative experience awaited him at a trauma recovery centre, where for the first time he felt truly present, shedding the burden of past regrets and future anxieties. Peter's struggle with anger was like a silent storm, quiet on the outside, but turbulent within, but occasionally with huge outbursts. He mostly mastered the art of external calm, yet internally, a tempest of justification, rationalization, and internal arguments raged on inside. But it was the introduction to a simple yet profound idea that became his turning point. He started changing his internal dialogue, adopting a practice of speaking as if it's to another person, and recording those conversations on his phone. This act of externalizing his thoughts, viewing them from a different perspective, brought a level of awareness and compassion towards himself that was transformative. I haven't been able to find the exact therapeutic method that Peter Attia was taught or adopted, but it very much sounds like a mixture of NLP processes and CBT. I wanted to share his story as for me it holds a mirror to the power of self-compassion. When we change the narrative within, we change our relationship with ourselves and the world around us. Our mental landscape shifts from a battleground to a sanctuary of understanding and kindness and a deeper understanding. Now, how can we integrate self-compassion into our daily lives, especially when facing the man or woman in the mirror? Here's a few practical steps that you might want to incorporate. Firstly, look at mindfulness. Much like Peter's venture into mindfulness, being present allows us to observe our thoughts without judgment. It's the first steps towards understanding our internal dialogue. You have to recognize it. And how do you do that? Well, it starts with a feeling, and just one step back from that feeling will be the bad, the negative thoughts that you are having or saying to yourself. Next is self-talk. Practice self-positive talk. Each morning, speak kindly to the person in the mirror, compliment them, acknowledge their efforts, and offer some words of encouragement. Next, forgive. Forgive yourself for any past mistakes and just let go of self-criticism. Embrace your imperfections. They're the essence of your uniqueness. Peter found this easier to pull out his phone and record a message as if to a friend for the thing that they were feeling bad about. So rather than chastising themselves, rather brutally about a particular self-confessed failure, he'd bring out his phone and then, as if talking to a friend, he'd give it a kind and forgiving message. Incorporating self-compassion is like planting seeds in a garden. With a bit of time, a bit of patience and nurture, the seeds will blossom into a beautiful array of self-love, acceptance, and a peaceful mind. So, that's all for today's episode of the Absolute Mind podcast. I really hope you've taken a snippet from today about how to be kind to yourself. Having that compassion, that self-love and acceptance is so important for helping you to go further on your mental health journey. And remember, if you haven't yet subscribed to the podcast, please do. And forward this on to anyone that you think might benefit from the tips, the advice, and the meditations that we do in this podcast. Until next time, take care, and I'll see you soon.